I'd like to take you on a little journey through history of all the different animals and some of the things that they did to serve with the humans. I mean, I'm going to just scratch the surface. There's so many things that they have done, right, standing right beside or not right beside we humans. So this is from the Civil War. Sorry. So back then, photography was brand new. So to have pictures, this is like one of the first photographed wars in history. And this dog, as you can see, it's a little Red Cross bringing supplies to this nurse to help this soldier. He's standing right with the soldier. And did you know that the Red Cross got started during the Civil War? Clara Barton, I believe. So I think this is just a beautiful photograph of a dog helping, doing his duty. And this is also the Civil War. And I think this is a baboon, but he was really, really well known, and he was kind of an ambassador. And then there were carrier pigeons, but carrier pigeons have been around for forever. And they usually carried messages, flew messages, that were tied to their feet. But look closely, there's a camera. So we're talking World War I. I'm pretty sure this is World War I. And they had a camera attached. Isn't that pretty ingenious? And here they are, as obviously World War I, letting the carrier pigeon go to take its message or do its job. Maybe it's surveying with, maybe this is like the first drone, right? And then so many jobs that the animals had. This mule carrying like wagon wheels and probably ammunition onto the battlefield. In World War I, it may or may not be, I'm not sure my history very well as far as military and war, but gas was used. And so the animals, I think this is so beautiful that the animals, and you'll see some others, were fitted with gas masks to save them too. So these dogs, it's kind of funny looking, right? Very strange looking, looks kind of alien. But these dogs, these are the first gas mask, or some of the first gas masks. And then, of course, these dogs are not just carrying first aid supplies, but maybe messages, important messages, maybe other kinds of supplies. And they just ran from one place to another. They knew how to get there without somebody. They just, okay, here I go. This is the famous Sergeant Stubbs of World War I. He was in the Army, and he was the first dog to be given a rank in U.S. history. So Sergeant Stubby, you might want to look him up because quite the character. He had a fan club, and he served and did so many amazing things. Otherwise, he would not have gotten a rank. So Sergeant Stubby, World War I. There were goats. It's usually the Army mascot. I think this was in Europe. Elephants, not in America, but elephants also have served in battles. Here's a horse with a gas mask. And then being fitted and ready to carry supplies. Again, at World War I. Now on to World War II. The animals didn't always serve as, with military jobs. Sometimes they were companions to the soldiers, but also companions and serving alongside of them. And then this is a dog. This is World War II, and a German tank, and this dog sacrificed his life to save many of us. And then I just think this is just amazing that, how they get these animals onto the ships to get them to wherever they're going. Pretty scary stuff. I remember my dad telling me when he was coming back from, World War II, coming back home from Europe, and something happened to their ship mid-Atlantic. They're coming home. Yay, can't wait to get home. And they had to change ships in the middle of the ocean. It was really rough seas, and a lot of people didn't make it. They had to go across a little wooden plank, and a lot of people fell off, didn't make it. Dad almost did, but he made it somehow. But I think about, what not just the humans, but the animals went through. It's just pretty amazing how they do all that they do. And then this, I love this horse. This is Sergeant Reckless. He was a Marine, and he served in the Korean War. I'm sorry, I said he. It's a she. Her stories are absolutely amazing. She is highly decorated, and she would, obviously you can see that she has supplies on her back. She would carry like big pieces of, cannons and ammunition. The first time she went in, and this big gun went off, she was like, whoa, like any of us would be. And then the second time she's like, alrighty. She was so brilliant. They could just load her up and then send her into battle, and she'd get the supplies there. She'd run back, load up more, run back in, all by herself. And she ran so many missions. Unbelievable. She was evidently wounded 2 times, survived, sent back in. She served in the Marines from 1952 to 1960. She had 2 babies, and they adored her. This is Sergeant Reckless. Just an amazing horse that served with the humans. This is Nemo. Nemo is in the Air Force and is of the Vietnam era. And Nemo was one of the first K-9 units retired and returned to the U.S. So often they were never retired and they didn't get returned home. So this was, we thank Nemo for being the first of many to be returned home. And I just love This is Nemo. I so admire, the animals, the dogs that, they repel, like go off of bridges or whatever with their humans. It's just fascinating, So I have other stories to tell you about that, but I'll save them for another time. And then they also, porpoises or dolphins served. This one has a camera on its flipper. Okay, I don't agree with some of this stuff, but, and I don't know that they still do this, but it was, had to do with radar, sonar, the underwater kinds of military things. And now, in more modern times, the dogs and their trainers. And then, of course, the deep love, companionship between the dog and the soldier, serving together, the comfort that they give each other. The dog and this young soldier, they've experienced things together that nobody else will understand. They have each other. Isn't that beautiful? They have each other. So happy Memorial Day. That's our little trip. The animals that served. And I just want to thank you for sharing this time with me and learning and about them and remembering and never forgetting